Welcome in, everybody. We are kicking it off here. It is Thursday night. Joey D is running late, which doesn't surprise me. The Niners are always running behind. Why wouldn't Joey? It's going to be a fun night here. I got Myers in the mouse, partner Channel in the house, ready to go to talk about his Chiefs coming off a bye week. We've got double Jets. I put them both on the same side, so if we want to black out the whole thing if it gets to be too much Jets. It's the Carney crew in the house, adventures by Carney. The ABCs, it's Pete in the house, and Gene Fitzmagic coming in from the Disney Network and everything else that Gene did. And coming in late, as usual, as the music's playing, only because he said, I'm prettier than everybody else, and I got bigger arms. It's the Cowboys Nation. It's Joey D. What's up, Joey? How are you, buddy?
What's up, bud? Talk about coming in the ninth inning. Man,
well, hey, you're going to pay for things when you come in here late, as it's there. So, good to see you, Joey.
I'm so happy to see Carney here. So happy.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. I can tell you that. It's going to be a lot of fun with these guys going at each other. Myers is in here. Kelly, great to see you on a big week last week. We're going to talk about some projections that we had. There'll be some infighting. There'll be some talking and chatter. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to lose to the Jaguars. So we'll talk about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And for my two Jets, it's always next year. So
I'm going to call your wife and tell her to check your meds.
Yes, I'm off crap. I'm off the meds. So let's get rolling and get into things here. Hello, chat. Great to see everybody in here. We'll pull up your chat along the way as we go through. So many friends in here. Sanudo's in here, one of our broadcasting partners. Liam and KK. Aaron, good to see you. Cap Macron. Cap Macron finished first in one of our fantasy leagues this year. Jeannie's in here. JC Skipper Brian. Jesse. Lila. Great to see all you guys and many more as we go through. So my team, you guys should all know it, the Broadcasting Peeps. This is our team. This will be changing right after the first of the season here, probably right around Super Bowl. We've had a couple people that are not able to participate as much. So I'm going to make some changes, in the opening. Got some things we're going to be doing for the upcoming year to get ready, but we're excited about that. Later on in the week, I say, is a big Pete's pick coming. It's in the week because this weekend I've got my pick. I missed it last week. I fell under. I was up to 78%. I dropped to 73, 74. But hopefully I can pick one. That'll be coming up later in the show. Let's dig into the news first, guys, though. Let's jump into here, and this will be our first topic of discussion. This was just put out by the NFL Network as the power rankings going into the Super Bowl conditional weekend. One, I'd like to get your opinion. I'm going to go around real quick on the order. And two, the fact that the Cowboys aren't even on the paperwork. How are they not even listed? Is my question. I don't know what's going on here. So let's start with this. Kelly, why don't you start it up? Take a look. That's how obviously Cowboys are 6 because they weren't listed. Just your thoughts on there.
They weren't worth mentioning. It's okay.
They weren't worth
well, as Jeff would say. Anyway, 49ers, Chiefs, that I'm kind of I could go back and forth there. I'm okay with those two being 1 and 2, to be honest with you. I'm not okay with the Bills being over the Bengals. I think the Bills are going to have a fight with the Bengals coming up, but I'm okay with this. I could flip flop a couple. I could move Cincinnati up 1 and flip San Francisco and Kansas City, but here's the bottom line here. We've got some good teams in here that are going to have some great games, and so that's I don't know. I'm okay with Dallas being on the bottom right now.
Okay. Gene, how about to you?
I think it's funny that the NFL is actually throwing shade at some teams. There's only 8 teams. We couldn't just do a power ranking of all 8. We had to leave 3 off.
True.
That's the thing. But I agree. I think the Bengals. And I'm sorry to say this, Kelly. The Bengals. I think I even put number 2. I know they had a little bit of a rough week last week, but I just love those Bengals right now. But obviously San Francisco to me is number 1. I've had them going to the Super Bowl all year. And again, I'm surprised the Cowboys aren't up there, but I think the Buffalo Bills maybe should be below that 5. I don't think they're as strong as they were coming into the season. So
okay, Carney, your thoughts? Niners on top. What do you like about these top 5? No Cowboys, no Jaguars, nobody else.
Yeah, it's a little surprising for me that they're 1. I do think that they might be the best bet in the NFC to make it to the Super Bowl. But out of all the teams left, I mean, when the Chiefs heat up, they can become super dangerous. The Bills might have the most motivation out of anyone going into any game to finish the season strong. The Bengals look so young, so healthy, and they're fired up. And then, yeah, we can talk about the Eagles and the Cowboys, but who likes the NFC East, right? Come on.
Joey D, what are your thoughts? Your boys are on top right there.
Yeah, just like Kelly said, honestly, you could flip-flop them. I mean, it's great. The way they're playing right now, I could see why they put them at number 1. But just like Carney said, yeah, they're probably the best in the NFC. I think the problem is, like he said, KC can heat up at any time. I know when they played early in the year, I think it was like week 7, and it was close for a little bit, and then KC ended up scoring a whole bunch of points. I don't think the Niners are the same team as they were back then, but the Chiefs are kind of like, they seem to be the Niners' kryptonite, whereas Cincinnati seems to be KC's kryptonite. There's always a team that's got another team that just seems to give them the most fits. So for me, you could flip-flop KC and the San Fran. I'd put Buffalo at probably 5, put Cincinnati up above them for sure, and then probably Philly. Yeah, Dallas don't even need to be in there. So we're good with that. That's just a shot at Jeff.
Well,
it's just a shot at Jeff.
The Eagles have trouble with the California Penal League, so that all works.
Well, yeah.
Welcome to MA football guys in here. Theo, Sam Eagles in here. Jeff Condon, our good friend, is in here as well. Good to see everybody coming in here. Yes, Kelly.
I just want to put out there, the beginning of the season, when this whole thing started for this year, where did everybody say the Chiefs were going to be?
Probably last in the division. I think I absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
No one had them
playoffs.
last in their division. I will say some people had them not doing as well, but
I
nobody
should
had
say
them
third.
last.
Yeah,
Right, third.
Several people.
I had them third.
They were not.
Kelly
No,
is right. There was a few
Patrick
people that did
Mahomes.
say. There was a few people that did have them in last, but
Well, hold on, what he's
still was a good team.
Let's be honest, what he's referencing is I had him third, but there was a lot of people that tried to get Kelly fired up the first week that put them dead last, and Kelly was taking a ton of heat. So it was to give him fairness there. I'll give him that. Guys, just so you know, as you're watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, throughout the show, my moderators will be dropping the links in for Adventures by Carney, for Joey D and the Diz Nerdy Network, for Gene and the Diz Nerdy Network. Gene's got some more stuff coming up very near future, and of course for Myers and the Mouse. And if you're new to me, hit that subscribe. We do this football stuff every week on our channel. Jump over here. We'll let Gene start on this one. This one I thought was pretty good. Wild Card Weekend takeaways. Wild Card Weekend takeaways. Kind of self-sufficient. I'm going to run down the list here, and then you guys can kind of chirp in on your time. So Wild Card Weekends. Miami will be a strong contender if healthy next year. Interesting. There's nothing to make us believe that the Lamar is returning for the Ravens. The Tom Brady regression is finally upon us. Daniel Jones and Saquon's redemption are storybook. Interesting. How has Brandon Staley not been fired yet? Interesting question. Trevor Lawrence is officially America's quarterback. Could be. I believe it's the hair. If it happens, believe it's the hair. And the Bills and Bengals need to get it together. Need to get together, combined, put a team together to beat Kansas City. That's what it's out there. Gene, how about starting us up on some of those takeaways? Tom Brady looks really good, looking like Kenny Rogers of the past.
I was going to say he looks like the most interesting man in America as the Dos Equis man.
Yes,
but,
he does.
And to me, that's the best part of that whole photo. I gotta say, if there's one in there that I agree with most and disagree with most, I'll say the disagree with most is the Miami one, and the one I probably agree with most is how I hate to say it, how I hate those Giants, those G strings. But Daniel Jones, man, has looked better each week. Makes me a little jealous sitting across town that they always land a quarterback, just like Joey's 49ers always find a quarterback, and we've been looking since Joe Namath for one. But those are my two takeaways from that. And Staley, I mean, is there a bigger waste of a head coach on a good team? I mean, is there? I don't think so.
I don't know.
So,
Marguerite says I'm going for between the Jags and the Chiefs game. That's true. Carney, how about you go next on this one? What's your thoughts?
Well, as a Jets fan, I don't. Miami won't be a strong contender. I mean, maybe they should start doing something in practice where people stop getting concussed all season long. I don't know what it is. Yep. Maybe they should just always wear those practice helmets that look like mushrooms.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe just wear those during games, and they might have a chance. Lamar, it's so interesting because it's not that I agree or disagree. Somebody said on a show I was watching, and I think it's really true, is that he is playing or not playing so he has longevity in his career. You see players who will just play, put themselves through it. I think it was Robert Griffin who said it. And he goes, I just played through injuries. I played when I was in pain. Give me the injections and shots just to try and win games that season or that year. And you can see Lamar saying, listen, I want to play for a long time. If my knee's not right, I'm going to sit this one out. So, is he looking for himself because he wants to be at a high level for many years to come? Or is that not someone you want on your team as a competitor who's willing to put their whole life and body on the line? That's a whole other argument. But to me, these guys are human beings. I know, we're watching and be like, get back in the game, hit the blue tent, get the injection, and get out there.
That's what I did tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Some of us have to do it right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Brady, I think we all know he's regressing, but also I think that he was kind of locked down behind Todd Bowles. We had him as a Jets head coach. He's a defensive guy. I never thought he was going to mesh well with Brady. And I also don't see – I know Byron Leftwich and Brady won a Super Bowl together, but I feel like that was because what's his face? The old head coach basically told Byron Leftwich, Brady's running the offense. Just be cool. We'll give you the credit. And I think this year was different where Brady kind of had to take a step back. He's also had a crazy personal life. So who knows? I mean, but the guy, even if he's only operating at 70%, is probably better than 50% of quarterbacks in the league. So what do you do, right?
We'll see. All right.
Daniel Jones and Saquon, I'm excited for them, but I don't see this team winning a Super Bowl. But it is cool. A lot of my friends are Giants fans. Obviously, I'm a Jets fan, but I'm happy for them that they have some pieces starting to come together. Somehow they always find a way to make it into the playoffs when the Jets find a way to lose. So it's sad. It's mostly jealousy. Staley is trash. I have no idea why he's still a coach. Who doesn't rest their players? I mean, they could have won that last game maybe if some of their players were rested, whatever.
We'll see.
Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's America's quarterback at all. But I do think with Doug Peterson and with him having a little more experience of a year in the league, he's got a bright future. And also, I mean, you talk about his hair. He reminds me like the Sunshine Kid in Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. And, the Bills and Bengals need to get together to beat Great KC. I think Bills and Bengals are the two best teams to beat them. I think that is the most anything can happen between those three teams. If I was to rank them, they'd be apart by like a hair.
I get you on that. Welcome into Butterfly. Good comments, Carney. Welcome into Flame Legends. Joey D, what's your thought looking over that?
I mean, listen, obviously Miami is talented. They need to really shore up their defense if they want to do anything, whether Tua's playing or not, because clearly they got to score 40 every game, at least at the time that they were doing well. They got to score a bunch of that stuff just to keep pace with it. Yeah, like Carney said, I don't know what's going on over there, what's in the water, why they're all getting concussed so much, especially Tua. I don't know if they need to take him to school to learn him teach him how to fall. I don't know, but hopefully he stays healthy, because you never want to see a player get so many concussions they literally just have to retire long before they meet their full potential. He clearly can run the offense, and he clearly can play, at least in that system, with those players. They got a lot of talent in certain spots, especially offensively. Just like their running backs, they just can't stay healthy, just like they couldn't in San Francisco, which is why San Fran had probably no problem getting rid of them. Very talented. But, like Mostert, great talent, but he just can't stay healthy. And Jeff Wilson Jr. runs so hard, he ends up getting himself hurt eventually. But yeah, they got to shore up that defense. And then, of course, I don't think Lamar's. I can understand from both sides.
We're going to take that a little bit later.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be returning. I mean, you predicted this a long time before, which I didn't really believe at the time, but I'm starting to come around to that. Tom Brady, is he regressing? That team is bad to begin with. They're bad. They were under 500 going into the playoffs. So as much as it was impressive to see Dak and all them guys do what they did, you did it against a bad team. So you really should do that. Sorry, just saying. We'll see this week. We'll go into it. We'll see if that turns out to be the case this week, because it's going to be a little different. But he's regressed some. Tom is one of those guys now. He's such an age. I love the picture, by the way, where he needs everything around him to be right in order for him to succeed. He's not carrying teams anymore. It's just not happening. And that team clearly is not good enough to do that. Daniel Jones, Saquon. It's nice to see Saquon stay healthy for the season. It's a cool story. I think it ends this week, but it's a cool story to see. They do have some pieces. They do have some talent in some spots, especially at the skill positions. So I think they are up and coming. I still never believed in Daniel Jones, but lately he seems to have kind of come around. So I guess we'll see if there's consistency there. Staley needs to be fired. That was an absolute atrocity that happened with San Diego. And they're another one. They have a bunch of talent in certain positions. They really need to put it together, and they never could the entire season really kind of string some stuff together where they looked, in sync. It was just like up and down. So kind of not surprising what happened. Trevor Lawrence, probably not America's quarterback, but immensely talented. And that team is obviously growing with their running back and just the pieces around them. They're a young and up and coming team. They're probably about a year ahead of where they should be, which is interesting. And that's why I was messing with Carney earlier, where he was laughing at me for calling them a top 10, and look where they are. So it was kind of funny. And then the Bills and the Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals to me are still the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs. I don't care what anyone says. Every Chiefs fan does not want to see Cincy, because they just seem to struggle against that team for whatever it is. They just don't match up well with them. I don't know what it is. So, but yeah, it's kind of funny to see that. The Bills, to me, they're really good. Obviously, they're so mistake prone during games and stuff like that. And their defense to me is very suspect, especially against the run. I just don't trust them. They're just too up and down with that. So,
okay.
So that's my thing.
All good points. Kelly, your thoughts looking over that?
Looking at this, the first thing I thought was,
I don't always throw touchdowns, but when I do, I drink Metamucil.
That was the first thing that came to my head when I saw that. But as far as, I kind of agree with a lot of what these guys have already said. I'm not going to rehash some of that. And the Bills and the Bengals, absolutely, those are the two teams that are running with Kansas City. The Bills, if they lose this game this weekend, in my opinion, it's going to be exactly that. They made a mistake. They're prone to making those little mistakes that will cost them the game to Cincinnati. But you could go either way with that. So I'm still laughing at the picture.
All good feedback from the guys on the dais and from the people in the chat. I'm highlighting your comments as we go through. I like it because this was a sharp takeaway. And obviously unique bullet points, and I'm sure we'll see more of those as we go on. Next segment here, Cardi's going to start us off. What I want to kind of do is I don't want to go through the whole list. I just want you guys to highlight one or two people that jump off the list. We're going to look at the rookies defensively first, and then the rookies offensively first. Now, obviously, it's a unique list here. You may not know everybody. You may know a couple, but just some thoughts for you. As I look at this, just highlighting real quick, I look at the fact of Hutchinson and Thibodeau have been monsters coming in there. I love the fact Quay Walker's, I've heard his name read in Green Bay games so many times. Devin Lloyd made a huge impact on the Jaguars. Sauce, you don't even throw over there. It's almost like Revis Island has returned. And Hamilton has been a killer for my Ravens. It's such a difference in the backfield. Carney, your thoughts as you look at this just on a couple of players?
Well, number one, we're going with the sauce. Who doesn't love sauce? Whether you're a football fan or enjoy food in general, a good sauce is just something you can't beat.
Yes.
And also, I don't even know this. He plays for the New York Jets football team.
Yes.
He's been a difference maker. Like, people text me all the time, tease me about the Jets as being a Jets fan. But every once in a while, I get a text from people like, wow, how about Sauce? Or especially as he started to come along throughout the season. Yeah, I'm so pumped. I'm so happy we got him. We needed him so bad. The Jets always have issues, and it's not often that we get 4 rookies who kind of made a lot of different lists and publicity this year. So I'm pumped. Our team is young. Yeah, we have a lot of questions at quarterback, but I really like what Salah's been doing. Just taking one game at a time. It does take a long time to rebuild this team. And by a long time, I mean at least 35 years. And we're there. So we are right at that 35-year mark. So who knows? We can turn it all around with a good draft. You give us a decent quarterback. But Sauce is really unbelievable. You just mentioned Thibodeau. You saw it with the Giants game last week. He has only gotten better throughout the year. He's an animal. He acts like he's been a veteran in the NFL forever.
Yeah.
Holds himself very well. He's just amazing just amazing. He's really great. I also really love Aiden Hutchinson. It's hard, especially when you watch Hard Knocks before the season starts. You start to fall in love with certain players that they highlight, and Aiden Hutchinson was one of them on Hard Knocks. So you're always sort of kind of rooting for them on the side. But I love the entire Lions organization underneath Dan Campbell. I think Aiden's such a great addition. I just love that he's football first, so driven, so self-critical. He just seems so many years ahead of himself. I think he's going to have a tremendous career in the NFL. If I had to pick one or two other ones, these are all great, but Tariq Woolen, you could say that's probably a big reason why the Seahawks even snuck into the playoffs.
Yeah.
No one had the Seahawks making the playoffs, especially with Geno Smith. Stop it. Not even close. But you get some of these people who are difference makers and just turn what should have been a loss into a quick win, a 3-point win or a 7-point win. So I think he was a big deal for the Seahawks and sneaking in. And also I'll say the same thing about the Eagles. Everyone, people thought the Eagles are going to be good this year, but the Eagles dominated a lot of the year, as much as it hurts me to say that. And I think another reason why was Jordan Davis. So those would be my 4
good
that I
call
think
outs.
have made some major impacts or to look out for.
Good call outs. Like it. Joey, take it next. Your call outs.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be first is Hutchinson. Like he said, seeing him on the Hard Knocks and stuff, it's kind of cool to see this stuff. I always secretly wish that my team was in there sometimes so I could kind of see some more of the stuff they do. I know the team is not for it. Shanahan hates that stuff.
Let's go get a goddamn snack.
Yeah, Hutchinson's great. Thibodeau's been very good. I don't think he's on Parsons' level when he was a rookie, but he's very good. At least from what I've seen watching him play. Quay Walker, yeah, he's another one that's been really good for Green Bay. Probably a bright spot for a defense that's been kind of weak, at least in my opinion. And they have a lot more stuff they got to deal with. Sauce has been probably my favorite one out of all these guys, just because he is legit. I remember, it is more rare to see a guy drafted very high and live up to his draft status, because a lot of times you just don't see that. But he absolutely is that dude. He's legit. They got themselves, a legit shutdown corner. Him as a rookie, I can only imagine give him a couple more seasons and how good he's going to get as he starts getting more of his technique and all that stuff. And Carney's got the jacket on, which is outstanding. So he's probably my favorite one. And also, Kohu from Miami, which I don't know him play. He's actually been pretty good. Again, they don't have a great defense. It was only in the 20s, I think, maybe 19, 20, 21, somewhere around there. But it was a bright spot there too. Out of those guys, those are the ones that kind of stand out for me.
Cool. Gene, how about you go next on this?
I got to start with Sauce. He was a big reason why there's a team that was in last place in almost every defensive category the year before into the top 5 the following year. Thibodeau was my defensive rookie of the year coming into the season, only because I thought Gardner was going to be the best guy in this whole draft. But cornerbacks usually take about 2 or 3 years to really season and get developed. I'm astounded how well he was able to play year one. I thought this would be like year 2 or 3 Sauce Gardner.
Yep.
I think Tariq Woolen is a playmaker. I don't think he's all near the quality of Sauce. He's just a playmaker. He's a ball hawk. He made a lot of big plays, but Sauce is that true shutdown corner. The only real one on here I kind of feel like might be is at that safety position. I feel like Jaquan Brisker maybe should have been in the talks. And I know Kyle Hamilton had a great year. Petrie had a great year. But I thought Jaquan Brisker from Chicago got a little bit of a snub. Had a fantastic season all year. But, I mean, and Thibodeau, I see a lot of people in the chat saying Thibodeau is a little overrated. People forget he was hurt early in the year, so he didn't really put up the big games until later in the year. And as the year went on, he became big time on that defense.
I watched.
So I think
snowball throughout the season is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think you
instead of tiring down, he went up.
Give him a full year next year. He'll be. I watched him in Oregon. The kid's just an animal. He just doesn't stop, and I'll be shocked if he doesn't. I mean, I respect Sanudo and so many others' opinions. I'll be surprised to see what he does next year. I do agree. If you had to lay it out, I got Hutchinson and Sauce between the two top ones out of all these incredible players. Kelly, your thoughts?
Hutchinson, stands out to me pretty good. Sauce, as long as he continues to bring the hot sauce and doesn't turn into weak sauce, we ought to be okay. But I think he's going to continue to grow and do very well for the Jets, to be honest with you. But that's kind of the two that really stuck out to me.
Cool. All right, we're going to jump over here, do the same for offense. I'll let Gene start us on this one here. This is the all-rookie team for offense. Brock Purdy in there, Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Garrett Wilson, Olave had a great year, Okawaku, I always get that name wrong, Smith, Jones, Johnson, Zion had to go in, Parham, and Linderbaum. These are some of the players that they were highlighting for offensive selections. Before I throw it over to Joey to start this out, Joey will start this one out. The one thing I have to say is, out of all these people, I give the biggest props, no disrespect, just to Brock Purdy. The kid was dumped into one of the worst situations he could be. He was Mr. Irrelevant, so he had that over his head already, everybody telling him he was basically the worst player out of everybody drafted. They had 2 other quarterbacks before him. He was sitting there basically as a practice squad afterthought. And all of a sudden, he's being asked to put the entire 49er Nation on his hands. And I think he's done it with pretty good dignity and pressure. If you have to give somebody that performed the entire year out of this list, for me, it would be 2 people. Kenneth Walker, one, the running back in Seattle, has crushed it. And Garrett Wilson in the Jets. Watch out, stud, super top receiver coming. Hate to say it, but I love what this kid he's a magnet to the football. Joey, start us out on what you're looking at the offensive list put out by the NFL Network here.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson to me, top, definitely a top wide receiver. Another hit for the Jets, which is what we talked about way back at the beginning of the season when we did draft night. And I still say the Jets to me had the best draft of anybody, and they hit on most of their players. Unfortunately, had some injuries, which I think, when they come back healthy next year, they're going to have another amazing running back as well. But to me, offensive rookie of the year is probably going to be Kenneth Walker, just because he's played the whole season. If Brock ended up playing the whole season, or if he played the amount of games he played right now, but he was drafted like in the first round, they'd still be talking about him just because of where he was drafted. It's unfortunate he's being sandbagged because he was Mr. Irrelevant, last pick of the draft, and all that other stuff. The truth is, Brock's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Not that that's some super high bar, but he's clearly, it's not even close. I know these guys are saying he's very similar. No, he's not even close to being similar. He's way better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Sorry. He's got that gunslinger mentality much more than Garoppolo is. There's a reason why they're averaging damn near 40 points a game since he's come in. So these guys that talk about him being a game manager, there's a reason why they are considered probably the best in the NFC right now. And I know Philadelphia, assuming they make it there, they don't want to see them. I can tell you that right now. So the amount of weapons on that team, especially, he deserves way more credit than he's getting. It's absolutely insane. It's a damn cool story. To hear this, I mean, this is like a Disney story. You'd see them make a movie be on Disney Plus.
It will be.
It probably will be. And Olave, he's been great. Braxton Jones, Johnson, man, a lot of good rookies. I mean, there's a lot of good rookies every year, but these are really good. I just, Kenneth Walker probably gets it for me, but Garrett Wilson, close second. Brock would have gotten it for me only if he got to play more games because he clearly has just been ascending since he's come in.
Good move. Good move. I like it. Let's go reverse order. Carney, you go second on this one.
So yeah, I'll just pick up where he left off because I agree with everything he said about Brock. However, they put out a stat during the game that looking at the best quarterbacks from San Francisco, which has a history of unbelievable quarterbacks, Montana, Elway, some other person I'm forgetting. But anyway,
Young.
Young. He has put up like better numbers in his first starts than they did. He is like beating them out so far ahead of them, and yet Jimmy Garoppolo is not even on the chart. Like he's so far down. I never was a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. A lot of people liked him. I never really liked him. I think the way he composes himself, his story. I'll make a crazy prediction, and I know this is wild, but he reminds me a lot of the first few years of Tom Brady's career. Not drafted too high, sat behind a lot of quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden he comes in and he's calm, he's cool under pressure, he's making plays, and now he's making playoffs. I mean, what if Brock Purdy makes it to the Super Bowl? And half the country would be asking, if you're not a football fan, who's Brock Purdy? So based on just that alone, that he could take a team, lead a team, be composed, and go through all that adversity to a major game, whether he wins the Super Bowl or he makes the NFC Championship, I think that alone just speaks volumes to Brock Purdy. I talked about how the Seahawks I don't think belonged in the playoffs, but I think Kenneth Walker had a big part of that, just like we were talking about with their defense. Garrett Wilson, of course, I'm going to talk about. I'm a Jets fan. The Jets actually had such a good draft. I was confused. We haven't had a good draft since I believe the Jets were created since year one. So it was nice to have, and there was so much hype about Wilson too. I mean, it was involving our quarterback, which didn't turn out amazingly, but everyone's like, watch out for Wilson to Wilson this year. It's going to be Wilson to Wilson. And he was a big part of that because Garrett was so talented. And then we've talked about a bunch of other ones, but I'll give a shout out to Chris Olave or Olave, whatever you want to pronounce it. I actually had him on my fantasy team where I won my championship league. Thank you. But he was good. I drafted him too high on accident. I misclicked. And I was so happy I did because he's been with interesting quarterbacks. Let's put it that way. But imagine he had like a Drew Brees back in the day throwing to him, or he had any of these other decent quarterbacks that are in the playoffs throwing to him. He's very talented. He's young. He's raw. He actually fought through a little bit of injuries this year, pushed through them. I think we're going to see big things out of him in the future.
I like it. Before I go to Gene, there's going to be an intentional. I'm going to do a setting change real quick. So you might have lag. If you do, click right back in. Let me fix this setting. Take that. Bang that for a second. Take about 2 seconds. And then we'll come back in. All right, there we go. And now we're hooked up on the hard line. And we're ready to go. There we go. Gino, why don't you pick it up where Carney left off and just some of your thoughts on some of the players here.
Yeah, it's a shame Breece Hall he doesn't get hurt. He's on that list, and either Pierce or Walker are not on that list. Breece Hall is going to, if everything goes well, he's going to be a stud to be reckoned with going forward with Garrett Wilson. Hopefully, we get a quarterback and we get our own set of triplets in for the Jets. I'll tell you what, who I liked, and I thought if I was making this list, I like your rookie tight end, Pete, likely. I thought he'd be right up there. I thought actually he was going to be the best.
He didn't put up as much numbers though, Gene. He was hot when he was hot, but when he was a lot of times
consistency
a non-factor. Yeah.
And I also like Charles Cross. I thought Charles Cross. Tyler Smith and Braxton Jones are studs, all pros for the future. But I thought Charles Cross deserved to maybe be in one of those spots. From Seattle, I thought he had a really great year. And I'll tell you what, the best lineman in this whole bunch is your guy, Pete, is Linderbaum. I think Linderbaum is a future center All-Pro in this league. He's fantastic.
He is.
And Brock Purdy, listen, cool, calm, collected. He plays like he's not a rookie. He looks like he's been in the league 5-6 years. kind of reminds me of Joe Burrow when Joe Burrow first came in, where just nothing fazed him. The only difference is Joe Burrow was 1 overall and Brock Purdy was last overall.
Yeah.
But it reminds me very much of the poise in the pocket. It reminds me very much of Joe Burrow.
Good call out. Let me welcome in David T's in house, Mooka77's in house, the Love Pugs are in house, and Andrew Estrada as well. Also point out that Carney does more costume apparel changes than any other award show we have, which I love. I love that he's coming in fully furnished all the time.
I take this serious. I got a computer with notes. I got sketch pads with notes.
I love it.
I came prepared with a red Solo cup, and I'm only on outfit number 3. Who knows what the number will be tonight? But I
love it. And that's why I love that you're part of our broadcasting team, which remind me, I got to talk to you about some at the end. Kelly, your thoughts. Look at this list. There's no Chiefs.
Ditto.
No Chiefs.
Ditto.
Just following everybody.
Ditto. I think they pretty much covered it all. There's not a whole lot more for me to say about this group of gentlemen that are up here.
We got a good team.
Purdy's a Capricorn, so it's his month. Mercury's
to be fair to Kelly, when we started this thing, it was me, him, and Jeff, and Kelly had to cover his stuff and Jeff's because Jeff had no clue. So it's just and he's not here.
Has anything changed?
Well, Chris Olaf, however you want to say his last name, Olaf. He likes to take long beaches, walks, and that kind of stuff.
He likes warm hugs.
Chigurzium Okinawa likes candlelit dinners. So
there we go.
I think we covered everything with all these.
We got
players
it all
now.
Well, Kelly, I'm going to ask you to start this one up because I thought this was an interesting tidbit that I found today. Again, came out from the NFL Network on stuff and numbers that they were looking at. Most playoff wins by quarterbacks selected first overall, age 26 or younger. Joe Burrow leading the list over Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, and 3 others tied with 3 who are pretty good names. Guy by the name of Bledsoe, guy by the name of Luck, and a guy by the name of Cam Newton. Kelly, I just go around real quick and just some short thoughts on this. Kelly?
I'll be honest with you. This kind of shocked me. I didn't realize this. So that I was kind of, when you start looking at Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, you kind of start going, wow. So I was shocked to see this. This is awesome.
Gino.
Yeah, you know what? Joe Burrow, I love the guy. And Carney, he'll remember, he wasn't number 1 overall. He was 5th overall. But we also had a quarterback under the age of 26 that had 4 postseason wins, Mark Sanchez. Only he wasn't first overall. But yeah, it's amazing to see how the Bengals could be such a putrid organization for so many years. And you'd make one right draft pick, and it really can turn around the whole franchise.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a credit before I go over. Hey, Dad Builds, welcome in. I'll give credit before I go over to Carney and just say this, that I give credit to what you said. It's an excellent point about Burrow, but they put a good football person in a GM position, and the guy made some major acquisitions. They've got one of the toughest wide receiver cores in the NFL over there. They've got a great mix of running backs, and they turned around their defense, and that started obviously with the GM, but he topped it off. Burrow and his wide receiver Chase, they're having those two come in back to back. That was like icing on the top of this whole thing that they're building. Carney, your thoughts?
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Everything you said was what I was about to say. Is that I think Burrow, and I'm not taking away from his talent. Very talented. He is an OG. He doesn't mind taking a monster hit. He'll hold the ball forever. But he's just trying to create opportunities for his receivers. I was going to say he came in with probably one of the best. I mean, if everyone out there has to say that the Bengals head coach is probably top 5 the last 2 years. The guy's fantastic. He's an amazing coach, and also with drafting and having good players and trading for good players is a great GM. So when you have a great GM and coach, it really helps. And then when you have a wide receiver who's willing to put it all on the line, and then he's throwing to friends of his, people he's been throwing to week in and week out, for years.
Yeah, it's true.
That's just a beautiful, beautiful combination for Joe Burrow. So, and I'm not taking away from his talent. I'm just saying a lot of that worked out nicely for him where, I get to throw to my best friends who I know what this means, what that means non-verbally. We can look at each other and know something. And then you have an amazing coach and a great GM giving you more talent, surrounding you with good people. I'm happy for Joe Burrow. And I love, like I said to start, that he's out there to play football. This guy, I think he was the most sacked quarterback last year. and he would just pop right back up. And this is after his rookie year being like knocked out for the season. This guy is not afraid of taking hits, and he's had every reason to be. So I think if they gave him even more time, he could be even more dangerous.
He got hit last week, and he jumped up and said, "Suck it, man. I'm Myers in the mouse." And I was like,
"That's what I'm saying. This guy's taking hits, telling people to suck it."
Can I just add one quick thing too? Could you imagine Joe Mixon is not a great running back? Could you imagine if he had a caliber running back of a 1,200-yard type rusher in that backfield too? He doesn't have the running game that a lot of these other great quarterbacks have. Could you imagine if he did have one of those backs?
But the composition of the entire team makes it so he doesn't have.
They have one of the best
really
receiver tandems in the league.
Absolutely. Joey, your thoughts before we go to the last topic before we pick our picks today.
It's funny to see Cam Newton on there with the 3 wins because, you don't think of him. Even with Bledsoe and Luck, you don't think he'd be there, but he is. Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of shocking to see Burrow up there already at such a young age with already, 4 playoff wins, which is insane. But he's like Carney said, he's immensely talented. Yeah, he's got some crazy weapons to throw to, but it's awesome to see at such a young age because this new, the new generation of quarterbacks, the Josh Allens and the Burrows, and it's good to see this, obviously, but yeah, I like the way he plays. Obviously, very serious, and like you said, the most sacked quarterback, and it just doesn't seem to matter. So, just imagine when they started to get him, more protected, and even with being sacked the most and stuff, they still end up being here in the final group of teams that are, trying to vie for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So get some linemen, look out.
Yeah, I think that, and yeah, it'd be nice if they get a better running back. Mixon's okay, but yeah, if they start getting something like that, it'll help him even more. But yeah.
And my last comment on this before we go to the next topic is, I think all of us here, all of us watching, all of you watching live or on Memorex here, or us here at the dais, or our broadcasting peeps like Sanudo who's in the mix, we are in for some fun over the next couple years because we've got teams that have built a not a dynasty, but what I would say is, built a fortress of quality football play. Kansas City, San Diego, Cincinnati, the Jets are coming around onto that. Miami's coming around onto that. So many others and others that are there. San Francisco, you go over the NFC, Eagles. There's a lot of equality, but difference. They're all built. There's so many teams are built differently, but there's really good football. You're not having a lot of these blowout games, and I think hopefully we're going to see that this weekend. Last topic, and I just want to kind of touch base a little bit on this. I don't want to go crazy into it because it's going to be a heavy topic as we get into the next couple of weeks and the offseason. I want to highlight today that the Ravens let go of Greg Roman, their offensive coordinator. That was announced today. It was announced that they politely accepted his resignation. So basically that means 2 guys named Vinny and 1 guy named Luigi were in a room and basically said, we're going to have your resignation or your brains on this paperwork. He went with resignation, and he has slowly moved out, which I'm kind of glad about. So I'm going to ask the guys to highlight on 2 things. 1, talk about that. But 2, the second thing to also talk about here is, and I'm going to leave this up on the screen as I do it, besides the resignation over here for my Ravens, this is Lamar Jackson's top landing spots, according to Cody Benjamin. He's a writer, heavy writer, involved with everything NFL. What's up, TBE? These are the top landing spots that are being talked about right now. Jets, Falcons, Dolphins, Panthers, Patriots, and Commanders. I have been saying since before the season that this was all going to come to fruition and happen. There's a lack of confidence in Lamar's wanting to play, wanting to be in there. He's more about getting all the money himself. The Ravens are refusing to give him more. Just to point it out, they offered him $125 million guaranteed, $200 million guaranteed contract, and with incentives and everything, $275 million. And he said that wasn't enough. So you can't mortgage your entire team.
What's that going to last you? 6 months? Come on.
Well, you can't mortgage your entire team for one player. I don't care who it is. I would say the same thing about any of the other quarterbacks out there, Allen, Mahomes, any of them. Okay? And I will highlight also, before I throw it to the guys, that Allen and Mahomes have already set a precedence of taking reductions, of taking adjustments, of not asking for ridiculous more than they deserve to try to build up teams around them. That is what franchise quarterbacks are about. There's already talk that in the league that the kid from the Chargers, the kid from the Jaguars, and Burrow are already following Mahomes and Allen's lead and going to do the same type of things. So, with all that being said, I'll let Gene start it out here. We'll go around Gene, finish with Kelly. Just your quick thoughts on this so we can get over to the picks. And again, we'll dig more to this later in the year.
Greg Roman, I always felt he was a little overrated as an OC. I was never really a big fan of his. I remember the Jets almost had him a few years ago, and I wasn't really a fan of that. I don't know if it was – who knows really what goes on the sideline sometimes. I'm not sure whose fault it was, but I do blame the coach. I thought both had a great shot last week, and I thought they were let down by the coaching, and especially in that fourth quarter. So I don't know if it's Harbaugh. Harbaugh is too good for me to sit there and put it on Harbaugh. But somewhere, somebody dropped the ball on the offensive side of the ball on the coaching staff last week. And you know what? I'm softening on not wanting Lamar Jackson. There was a point where I did not want him. I was listening to Bart Scott, former Jet, former Raven, just recently on the radio, and I heard his take on it, and he can't wait. But he had a great take on how he would fit with the Jet offense. And listen, does he root for the Jets? Yes. Is he a homer? At times. But he does call it how he sees it at the same time. And he kind of convinced me into where I think Lamar Jackson might work. And I will agree with you, Pete, as far as him wanting all the money. But to be fair, a lot of those other teams put weapons around their quarterbacks before they gave him their money. And then they use it to fix other parts. They have yet to really ever give Lamar Jackson a top line receiver. So I can understand him being like, I before I ruin my career, I need to make a little bit of money or give me some weapons first. So I can understand both sides of it. I can understand saying, listen, I need to not blow my knee out. I need to I show the love in me if you want, going back and forth. But I am softening on, I don't know if I want him. I'm undecided, but I am softening on not wanting him a little bit.
Okay, good points. Carney, you go next. The one team that's not up here, which was team number 7, I couldn't get it on here, was Detroit. Also, I should highlight that. Go ahead, Carney.
Yeah, I think Detroit is totally fine with Goff. I think that even hearing Dan Campbell talk on Manningcast last week, I don't think he's unhappy with really the way any certain players played. It's just that they made early mistakes earlier in the season. Because they even asked him, how does it feel having a better record than the Bucks and watching at home this week? And he's like, I'm not going to lie to you, it stings, but he goes, we made mistakes early in the season. And he wasn't referencing any players. They tried to press them in catch them in certain areas. And he's right. He's just such a team guy. I think he really thinks that Goff can sling the ball. I used to make fun of him all the time. I still don't know if he's a legit quarterback, but I don't see them getting rid of someone that they're semi-comfortable with at least to come bring in this big contract guy. The Jets, at first I didn't really like Lamar. It stemmed from I came to a Pro Bowl weekend here in Orlando and watched Lamar when he was in his Pro Bowl contest, and this guy couldn't hit a target to save his life. I'm talking I could have done a better job in the skills competition. And I'm like, how is he so good? But you got to remember his legs. You got to remember what under pressure he gets the job done. I was actually more encouraged that he did want to rest his leg. And again, going back to the Robert Griffin statement, how big was the hype for Robert Griffin? We all want Robert Griffin's going to be the next big thing in the NFL. And then, you just take a few bad hits, you play through injuries when you shouldn't, and all of a sudden you just drop off. So I like that he cares about longevity. I think he's going to be excited about that we finally have some weapons. We haven't had a, quote unquote, real quarterback in a while. We've tried everyone. We've been kind of a quarterback merry-go-round. From Sam Darnold to, who we were taking whoever we could get. Joe Flacco, who when I said that name to someone in my family over the last weekend, they said he still plays in the NFL. So we have been a mess. So I could see it. And he's got some weapons now. We've been working on our O-line. And everyone's talking about how he wants all this money. He could have taken a different deal. And he said, no, I want to prove it myself this year. It is hard to walk away from hundreds of millions of dollars to say, I'm going to bet on myself. And that was his choice. So I like that attitude of I'm going to play and I'm going to prove it.
Okay, love it. Joey, your thoughts?
For me on this list, the Commanders, Panthers, and probably New York is probably the teams that I would think about more landing spots. I still think Miami's kind of pretty high on Tua, as long as if he's healthy, and they say that he is, which I saw. You know what I'm saying? There's no way I think they change that. As far as him, first of all, let me go back. Greg Roman, it might have been time for a change. Harbaugh kind of knows what he wants. I know they've been somewhat consistent, but sometimes you just need a change. He's okay. He's been in the league quite a while. He's been around, but maybe I guess they felt that he just wasn't doing it for him anymore. It's hard to say, especially with Lamar being hurt and stuff. The team's just not the same, even though Huntley did pretty decent. Now, as far as Lamar, the money, and Carney's probably right. I don't mind a player kind of trying to make his money. I get that. I think that what they offered him was more than enough money. And I tell you, I don't know if the Jets want him. At what price do you get him for? You don't want, because is it more than what Baltimore offered him? Because man, that's a lot of money for somebody who I know he bet on himself, but he's injured. So it's hard to.
Can I interject 1 second, Joey? Remember this though: the Jets have a lot of young players that they're not paying right now, that they're not going to have to pay for 4 years.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
They're going to have the cap space for the next 4 years, and then you worry about that later. Get it? If you get a chip or two.
Also, he's going to build in, if he thinks he's going to be great with a young team, build in a ton of incentives. They will guarantee you, whatever X small number. They'll be like, yo, you get us to the playoffs, you get us to a Super Bowl, we'll give you all the millions and millions you want. Build it, make it incentive heavy.
Well, the Ravens got $70 million in incentives, and it wasn't enough. So,
I don't know. Again, he might be good there because Lamar's still relatively young, and the Jets obviously are building a real good core around him. So I think it's interesting that you said during these basic skills that he was struggling with some of this stuff, because it's funny, you put him on the field and he seems to be just fine. So, who knows? Some of these guys are just not good at that stuff. It's almost like a guy that's trying to run the 40-yard dash and they time it and it's not that fast. It's like Jerry Rice, but you put a ball in his hand, he runs away from everybody. So it's just kind of, it's funny like that. But yeah, I think honestly the Jets could be a good spot for him because clearly Zach is not it. And that, I don't think that guy plays another game for them. I don't know.
Well, I don't think so either. But Kelly, you want to close this topic out for us for tonight? And we're gonna jump.
So for me, I'm thinking honestly, I think he's putting himself in a bad position. You got a lot of nice young quarterbacks that have been coming out of college lately. Any team that picks up Jackson has to have a solid second string quarterback because you cannot trust that he will remain healthy.
Right.
So those are the things that kind of poke out in my brain. The Dolphins, they're not gonna change. That's not gonna happen. But whoever does go for him, if they go for him, and I'm gonna say that again, if they go for him, he is a talented young man, but we just can't risk that much money crippling the rest of the team on somebody you cannot count on.
Yeah.
And that's my
good point, Kelly. Long shot, Larry.
I also just
multi-year contract.
Full circle to the article you put up. I wonder if their, offensive coordinator who's been there for decades, with the whole Lamar drama now, I wonder if that has something to do with it, where maybe he's more old school, like, hey, I need quarterbacks who are to play for me. I don't care if your knee itches. Or where they said, hey, we're looking to move our offense in a different direction as opposed to what you want. I mean, it is odd that he's leaving and the offensive coordinator.
Well, here's the thing. The offensive coordinator, they changed their whole offense to redo it after Flacco to build it for Lamar. And Greg Roman was all a part of that. Okay? According to what I know from insiders around here, the whole thing with Greg Roman was the play calling situation over the balance of this year has cost them several games. And I think that playoff game the other day, the big thing that really I think killed Greg Roman was the first and goal at the 1, where you've got one of the best running back situations in all the NFL, and you throw to your fullback on first down. You throw out tied to a skinny slot on second, and then you try to jump a quarterback who's smaller than most over top of a line. Not once did you call a handoff. You have that big fullback. You got Gus Edwards.
Seahawking it. He Seahawked it.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah. The play should have been simple. First down, take the fullback, put the big or Gus Edwards, our massive running back behind him, and then hand the ball off to Dobbins behind him. They'd have been right in. It was a dumb play call selection. It cost them the game. So, it is what it is. But we'll see how this year. We'll talk about this more. If you liked all the beginning of this show, this is what our show is, in depth in the off season, and I can't wait to get to it. All right, let's get to the picks this week and what all we got going. First, going to pull up this. Take this a second to get this up. This is our year standings, where we are for the year. for the year on our picks. The red has how many picks we've done for each person. The white is our percentage correct. Puts the numbers where they are. Call out to Bryson, Magic of the Mouse. Hit 5 out of 6 last week. He was top performer, and it actually moved him up to 54%. Dropped Carney down. I also dropped down and got closer. What's up, Dave? Welcome in. There's Dave and Brandy and Dave in with us as well. I want to also jump down here real quick to this. And this is last week. This is where we were last week. Bryson, Myers and the Mouse, and Mouse Talk, top three last week, 83%, both of them at 67%. A balance of us at 50%, a couple of us at 33%, and Sean was apparently drinking when he was picked last week because he only got 17% right. And Tina Marie, call out to Tina, hitting 33% last week. Hey, Curtis family, welcome in. Let's get on to the first game of the week, everybody. First game of the week. That's a good one. That will be at 4:30 on Saturday. And guys, I'm going to let Kelly go last on this one. So I'm going to start Carney picking out this one. You got the Jaguars heading to Kansas City. Kansas City minus 8.5. Total 53. If you guys have feelings on totals this week, please give them to everybody. Carney, start us out.
All right. So for those who don't know, these two teams played in week 10. The Jaguars on that game were favored by 9.5. They would have covered that if they did not miss a pretty easy field goal. So they would have covered the spread. Instead, the Chiefs won by 7. It was a great game. That's how I bet it. It was great. Now, if you think about that was week 10. How much better have the Jaguars got every single week? So now we are in week, 18, if you include the playoffs or whatever, it was 19, 20. They've only gotten better. I think Doug Peterson has proven that he can take a team that never is expected to win. Look at the Eagles years back. They were trash. And then he got them to the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. I think he knows how to coach quarterbacks. I think he's an amazing coach. I also think that the Chiefs, literally, I pulled up a stat. I wonder if I still have it. But whenever they have these big spreads, which I think this week is, what do we say it was?
8.5.
8.5. Yeah, big spread. The Chiefs, when they've been favored by 9.5 or more, here's how they turned out. They won by 3, 10, 16, 6, 4, and 3. So literally have only covered twice. In the other games, they never scored more than 10, 6, or 3. The Chiefs, they don't come out, and I love betting the Chiefs, because especially live, because they come out looking lethargic and terrible, then Mahomes just turns magic on. Even if the opposite happens, we have Trevor Lawrence. We just talked about him as the new guy in football. I think even if the Chiefs are up 2 touchdowns, there's definitely a chance Trevor Lawrence can come through a garbage time touchdown. It's the playoffs. They're playing to the last buzzer. They're going to go all out. So give me the Jaguars with the points. I think this is going to be a 7-ish point game.
Okay. Joey?
So, well, first of all, why does it say 33% over my head? Was I 33 last week? I thought I was like 50.
No, you were 50. I was 33. Yeah. We got to flip.
That's okay. I got T Marie's numbers here. Anyway.
Oh, you got Dean's numbers there.
Yeah, it's me.
There you go. All right, so yeah, these guys did play back in week 10. It was closer than I was expecting, even though they were favored at the time. I'm talking about
it's the easiest way.
The only thing with KC, the only thing is with there you go. The only thing with KC to me is he's right. Whenever they're favored by a lot, it seems to be. I think the game's going to be closer than we think, but I still think this is kind of when, and I know they've had a break. I still think that Mahomes and that offense, man, they tend to score a lot of points. The defense is not like completely shut down, so they're going to give up some points. But I do think that they end up covering this. And I'm thinking somewhere in the 36-21 range, somewhere around there. That's what I'm thinking. Even though I think the Jags defense is better, it's just like he said. Sometimes they seem lethargic, or they just can't seem to get anything going. And then in like a 4-minute span, they'll score like 3 touchdowns. It's absolutely insane. So for me there, yeah, give me KC because I do think they'll cover barely. Probably they might, maybe by 10, 11, something like that.
Okay. Gene, go next.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of this is also going to be rushing too. I mean, if you look at the week 1, 5 out of the 6 winners crushed the other team in rushing. Jaguars are 5-1 when holding teams under 75 yards. KC is 1-2 when they're held under 75 yards. So I think that's going to be a big part of it. The other thing too is KC they can give up that big play. I don't think they're that great in the secondary. Having said all that, I think Jaguars keep it close for the first half. I think we got a game going into the second half, but I think it's one of those games where then the experience just pulls through and Chiefs go up 10. I don't think they crush them, but I think they do win by 10. I do think they cover, but it's the second half that they pull ahead to get that 10-point.
Yep.
Okay. Kelly, your Chiefs, what are you thinking?
I am excited. So here's what I'm saying. I'm saying KC will win this game by 10. I agree. The first half of the game, it'll be closer. I could see it being tied at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
But that second half, that's when they're going to come back. And just if we have to, it's going to be, I mean, come on, 13 seconds, march down the field, get a touchdown. I mean, whatever we got to do, but I think it'll be by 10. So Kansas City will cover.
Kansas City by 10. As I look into it, I'd have to say to Pete Carney,
oh my.
You're going to be the lone wolf right there on this one tonight, because I am going to go Kansas City. And here's why. I think Jaguars.
That means I'm a lock.
Jaguars have done a great job this year of turning things around. I love them and love the way their play's going. I love the way their organization is driving and moving. What I will say is this. I think this is going to come down to two simple things. One, Arrowhead is just a unique place to play, and it's at a whole nother level when you're talking about playing in a playoffs. And I don't think he's ready to put his team fully on his back and carry them on the road at Arrowhead. Second thing is, I'm going to look at the gambling aspect of it, and I look at it as, okay, 2.5 tees. You're going to look at that. You're looking at around 14.5. I think I think Kansas City pulls away, and this is a 17 somewhere point win with a pullout, just exact opposite of what Gene's saying. I think it's a 10-point game going late, and something happens late, either a turnover or a Mahomes crazy play that puts him up 17, and that's where it plays out. So I'm going to go Kansas City on the play there. Game two coming in here is going to be the Giants and the Eagles. That is 8 p.m. Saturday night. 8 p.m. Saturday night. Gene will start this one out for us. The Giants are on the road. Eagles are -7.5, playing there 48. By the way, I love the over in the previous game. I still think that is a high-scoring game. Gene, start this one out for us here.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I feel like Philly's going to match up well against them. Philly, 70 sacks. I think it's 3 away from the record this year. That pass rush is going to be crazy. It's going to be more than they've dealt with last week. But here's the thing too. It's Saquon Barkley. Forget about Daniel Jones. It's Saquon that needs to have the big game. These are two of the top rushing teams in the NFL. I think they're like 2-4, something like that, or 1-3. But Philly, why run against them? They got the crazy pass rush. They got maybe a top 3 corner duo in the league. If you can't run against them, then you have no shot. And I love what Daniel Jones has done this year. But it's got to be a heavy dose of Saquon. I know Saquon had a great game last week, but it was only 9 carries and like 4 catches. He got over 100 yards combined, but that's all he needed to do. This week, we need to see 20 to 25 carries Saquon. If Saquon can control the ball and control the offense, Giants have a chance to pull this one out. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. But I do take them in this. I take the Giants on the spread. I got the Eagles winning it though, but I see like a 27-23 type of game.
Every time they play, it's tight, no doubt about it. Timothy Birmingham says, "Fly, Eagles, fly." Joey, how about taking this one next? Hey, Alice, welcome too. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's funny. As much as I want to see, I would like to see an upset. I just don't think we're going to. I do think it's going to be close. The Giants, they can kind of keep you kind of close to them for a while, especially if they can keep the game close. They have a chance. And like Gene was saying, Saquon, they're going to go as he goes. And yes, Daniel Jones has played better. They do have some good receivers. But yeah, with that pass rush, 70 sacks, there's a reason. Even if they're not sacking him, they might be in his face and all that stuff. So I don't know if he's going to be able to stand back there and just gun the ball down the field, especially with their corners. So it's going to have to go as he goes. Maybe the pass rush slows it. Saquon can hold that pass rush off if they're able to do some dump offs, maybe some slip screens and stuff like that. But I think that I'm kind of with Gene here. I'm picking the Eagles to win because I still got to see how rusty they are, because they did not finish the season well. They were like 1-2 in the last 3 games, and they did not look great. Even in the last win, they didn't look great.
And Hurts.
I'm going to take the yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Hurts, how healthy is he? How rusty is he? He's had another week off. He wasn't the greatest the last time he played anyway. So I think the Giants cover the spread, but I think Philly wins.
Okay. So, Giants covering the spread for Joey. Kelly, your thoughts?
I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be within 3. I think the Eagles win, but the Giants do not. Points. It's 3. It's a close game.
Close game. Carney.
Not only am I a lone wolf, I am completely in disagreement. I think this game will be the biggest blowout of the weekend. And I hate to say it. All my Giant fan friends, I'm a Jets fan, but whenever the Jets get eliminated, which is usually around week 3, I cheer for my Giants fans. At least I'm a New Yorker. And I'm so happy they made it this far. But again, it's the Giants. Not all the pieces are there yet. They're a great team. But the Eagles, when they are motivated, look at this season, they have been blowing out some good teams. Like I have in my notes too, and yet the Giants have been losing games in big game history. Like they already lost the Lions, the Cowboys, the Eagles. I mean, they've already lost all of them. Like the Eagles have their number. I know the Giants have gotten slightly better, but they haven't made those big leaps and bounds like some of the other teams we're going to talk about tonight, where we already have.
Right.
The Giants are good. They're resilient. I think everyone kind of likes them because they're all just like grunting. They're bald-headed and beards and just like, well, we'll get up and play. But it's just, I think this is the year, and I hate saying it. I'm not a big Philadelphia fan when it comes to my other sports teams as well. They threw batteries at Santa Claus, but I will pick the Eagles, and I think they're going to win by like 10 or more.
Okay. To Carney, I say, because I'm going to fully agree with you this time on this. I think Saquon had his Super Bowl game last week. I don't think that one guy here that carries the G-Men's whole persona. Daniel Jones impressed me with his aggressive. He impressed me with his savvy, with everything he did. He finally stepped up to be a great quarterback in a great game. Does that carry over? Yeah, I think it does. I think it's going to be good things for Daniel Jones for his future. I just think that Philly's going to be too much. I think that everybody's going to take the Giants plus some money on the line. I think everybody.
Oh, there is. There's a ton of Vegas money on the New York Giants, which I don't know if you've heard things about the refs. If you're a conspiracy person, all the money's on the Giants.
I'm not conspiracy, but I think that's where I didn't even know that, but I was assuming that. This is why I think I think Philly easily covers, and I think this game stays way under the number where everybody's expected it to fully go over. So I will take the Eagles on this one. One thing I want to do a little bit differently here than we've done the last couple of weeks real quick is I want to bring the guys in real quick. I want to remind everybody, hey, Jacob Farnsworth, welcome in. I want to remind everybody that my moderators have been dropping their links in throughout the night. Just real quick, just go around as we're sitting here with 70-some in here. We're going to pick the last 2 games in just a minute. Kelly, tell everybody a little bit about your channel, if you wouldn't, real quick.
Okay. Hey, we're Myers and the Mouse. We go live from the parks Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. and on Saturdays at 10 this weekend. I think we're actually going to do Rope Drop this weekend from Magic Kingdom. We've got some other things going on later in this afternoon. I will be out of town next Tuesday, and so Mama Mouse is going to have a surprise guest with her, and
nice.
We'll be heading to Animal Kingdom.
And in just a couple weeks, you'll be going around the parks with me wearing Ravens jerseys. I have them. I'm bringing them for you. Gene, you're up.
Bring it.
Gene, you're up.
Yeah, you know what? We got this Nerdy Network coming back soon. I know me and Joey actually have a meeting tomorrow to kind of talk about the relaunch. And we've been waiting. We've been sitting on hiatus for a few months, so we're going to be bringing that back really soon. And then on that, April 3rd, from the executive producer of Cobra Kai, I'll be part of a show Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. I'm sure you're going to find Pete on that show at times. You're going to find Joey D on that show at times, but it's going to be me, stand-up comedian Nacio Marrero, Caleb Pinkett is also part of that show. Matt Hamilton will be part of that show. A few other people too. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be everywhere too. It's not going to be necessarily a YouTube show. It's going to be on pretty much any podcast streaming site, YouTube. I believe it'll be on Twitch, Facebook Live. You'll find it pretty much everywhere. So
can't wait. I'm looking forward to helping you promote the heck out of that and seeing what success you're going to have with that. And of course, being a part of here as well. Joey, You next. What do you got going on?
Yeah, well, first, like Gene said, yeah, we do have another meeting tomorrow, but the relaunch of Disnerdy. I know like I said, we've taken a hiatus. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on, but it will be back. I'm excited for it, especially to see the underground come back, and obviously the Villains Club, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then just for the shop, JSA got several new designs that are coming. Obviously, it's early in the year and stuff like that. I got a whole bunch of stuff I'm working on, which I can't say yet because Sam will kill me since she hasn't shown anything. So just know that I'm tooling away in the background right now.
I got a challenge for you. I'd like for you to come up with some type of, if we can, some type of Super Bowl ears that maybe we could give away to one of the ladies watching the show or something like that.
Okay.
A special Joey D design for that. That'd be kind of cool if we could do that. So
a good idea.
Talk about that afterwards. Carney, much like Kelly, live from the amusement parks down there in the Orlando area, buddy.
Yes, very fortunate to be around the corner from Universal and Disney. And we as slow as we were in December, we've been going nonstop with content over the last 3 weeks. Everything from we went to the entire Hoop Doo dinner show and had a great time, great interactions, great view. I think a lot of people like that. Showing another side of my life, I own a DJ company. I was on the main stage at SeaWorld for their New Year's Eve countdown. We live streamed the entire thing. We had people in the crowd holding the camera. That was fun. Magic Kingdom when the railroad came back. Saying goodbye to Splash Mountain all this week. We'll be on it a few more times. We did the marathon weekend. We covered that. So yeah, if you want to go watch a bunch of cool events happening at Disney and all the other theme parks, we'll be at Mardi Gras, at Universal, as well as Port Orleans. There's a lot of news coming up at Disney. I'll be at the Tron previews for cast members and annual pass holders.
Nice.
So yeah, if you're into theme park stuff and just good times, come on by. Festival of the Arts we just did too. Come watch. Say hi.
All the links for all the guys are here in the chat. You can also find their direct link to their YouTube channel on the front of my YouTube page and also over on the PeteMcDivittShow.com. Real quick, before we pick game 3, just remind everybody, our Discord is rocking. We've got over 200 plus people over there talking not only NFL, but all sports, Marvel, Star Wars, and more. Check out our Discord. We've been dropping the link throughout the night. I want to remind everybody that I am running an NFL football pool. We've been doing that now. This is the second year in a row we're doing it. $25 a block, $500 a quarter payout. And we've already sold out one completely. We are now working on the second one. Email me at PeteMcDivittShow@gmail.com if you want the link. Again, first come, first serve basis. We'll start a third one once we sell out the second. And we are already almost halfway full on the second. Blocks are going quick. $25, $500. Reach out to me. Current reminder, we will be doing XFL games starting in February. When the Super Bowl is over, second half of February, we will be doing the XFL here right on the channel. And this weekend, my broadcasting schedule will be Saturday 4:30, Chiefs and Jaguars, Saturday 8, Giants and Eagles, Sunday 3 o'clock, Bills and Bengals, Sunday 6 o'clock, 49ers and Cowboys. Let's get into this one. Bills and Bengals, it's a big one. It's a big one here. Thank you, Marguerite, for your 15-month recognition. I appreciate you so much. Bills and Bengals, let's start it off with Joey D starting it off. Big monster of a game. Bills minus 5.5 at home, 48.5 total. Start us off, Joey.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, aside from the Chiefs, these are the other two Titans that happen to be going at it in this game. I know it's in Buffalo. Cold weather's not going to make a difference since he plays in the same type of stuff. Doesn't matter. I know it's only 5 points that they're favored. The problem with the Bills, coming down the stretch, I don't trust Josh Allen enough. He's a great quarterback. He tends to make some silly mistakes late in games. You know he's going to give it away at least once or twice. Burrow generally doesn't do that type of stuff. I just trust Cincinnati more.
Okay.
And I think they're the ones that are going to come out on top. So I think they're going to cover their spread. And I think Cincinnati wins this.
Cincinnati wins it outright. Wow, nice. Kelly, your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Keep it clear.
This is a family friendly stream. So this is my coin toss for the day night.
Really?
For me it is. I think this one can go either way. I think ultimately Buffalo wins, but point spread wise, not going to happen. I think it's going to be a closer game than that. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think they're going to battle it out. I think they're going to give us a good show. But I think the Bills are going to be able to pull it out, and I think it's going to be due to a mistake.
So Bills covering on a mistake, -5. Yes? Make sure I have you right.
Yeah.
Carney, let it rip.
Let it rip is actually part of my defense on the game, which I will get to in a second. For me, this game really came down to there was a lot of injuries on the Bengals side, and I was very worried about. And literally, I just checked it right before I started talking, and Jonah Williams and Alex Kappa both were not able to practice at all yet. And they made up a big part of the Bengals. I think this game was going to be so close with them healthy. So if those two players are out, I think the Bills just have the advantage. I mean, also, like, think about the motivational speeches in the locker room. I mean, the last time you played the Bengals was the whole Hamlin thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I also, and that's why you said pull the cord or the rip cord. If they're down by like a touchdown, I guarantee you're going to have Hamlin somehow ruled into that locker room. He's going to fire. He'll be on the screens. They might helicopter him in, drop him from a parachute in a glass box with a nurse. But the Bills have so much emotion involved in this game. And if the Bengals are down 2 of their starters, I think that the Bills, I mean, they're going to win by a touchdown. I know that they're very, it's like a lottery ticket with the Bills, but I just feel like they are playing for so much more. And the last time they played the Bengals, they didn't get to finish that game. So I'm pretty sure they want to finish that game in this one.
Okay. Gene?
Yeah, listen, I think everyone knows I'm a big fan of the Bengals. I thought the Bengals would have beat them the last time they played had they got to play that game out. Who doesn't have a spot in their heart for DeMar Hamlin? Even though Jet fans like me and Carney, I'm sure agrees, we got a spot in our heart for Hamlin at this point. But at the end of the day, listen, Bengals want to win just as much as the Bills want to win for Hamlin. Bengals want to win too. And you know what? Let's look at a few things too. The Bills have been a little. They haven't been the great. Won 8 in a row, but the only team that was really a playoff team is that Dolphin team that they beat barely last week with a 3rd-string quarterback. And I'll tell you what, too, I've noticed about Josh Allen. When things are going really good, he kind of gets a little lazy. I don't know if he gets bored, but they went up 17 early, and then he made a couple of mistakes. Miami came back. It got a little tight, and then he made a couple of more big plays and pulled ahead again, then made another mistake or two. Josh Allen has shown, as Joey said, he can be careless with the football at times. The rest of that team is just so good, it kind of makes up for it. And he can be good when he needs to be. But I also do think Cincinnati is a special team this year. I think losing Von Miller on defense, I've said it numerous times, has hurt that defense and in the closer mentality. Yeah. I think Von Miller might have been one of the reasons why that game was so close last week. I'm not only taking Cincinnati to cover, I'm taking them on the money line. I love Cincinnati. So I'm going Cincinnati.
Money line. Wow, there you go, Gene on the money line.
You just made a point for me and you picked Cincinnati? Gosh, it's going to be a close game, and you said that he is awesome under pressure. It's only when he's got a big league he gets lazy. This is going to be a close game.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think what he could do when he did that with the Dolphins, he can't do that with the Bengals. So that's what I kind of meant when I said that. Is he got away with it against a team like the Dolphins? He ain't going to be able to do that with the Bengals. Bengals will make him pay for those mistakes.
All right. Well, I'll give you my play.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Yo, it's me. It's DDP.
I'm on the Bills, and here's why. I'll tell you why. So, first off, no doubt about you can take the lock of the week that Hamlin will be at this game. Hamlin will be at this game, whether it's in a box, whether it's on the field. He will be shown to the crowd. It'll happen. It's going to be empowering for all of us health-wise and obviously for all football. I think that these two teams are so evenly matched, it's crazy, where I agree that the Bills sometimes will get a little lazy with Allen. Also, I say that the Bengals still don't have a full offensive line, and those injuries are key. I think it comes down to one thing. If ever there was a time that one team was going to will itself to another level, I think it's Buffalo this season. I think Cincinnati's right on that cusp of taking that reign, but they haven't done it yet. I look at the total of this. I love the over. I think it's a back-and-forth game with a bunch of energy and high score, and I don't think it's like a 3-3 game at halftime or anywhere near that. But I think the Buffalo 5 kind of throws me off, and I have to look at it from a gambling aspect. Either a team is going to win by 3, they're going to win by 8, or they're going to win by 14. That's kind of where the numbers flow if you're a betting person as it's laying out. I think this falls into the 8 range. of some of their, and Buffalo covers and takes it to another level, where they go to Kansas City and have maybe the game of all games that if you don't record it, you're going to miss out. And I'll tell Kelly how it's going to be next week.
Or watch it here on the channel. I'm assuming you'll probably be watching it.
Look, I'm doing all the games. I love the people to come here and hang out with me. All right, before I do this last game, I want to remind everybody, don't leave after we do this last game, because I got something special for you. A little surprise that nobody here is expecting, but you're going to want to see it. Yeah, surprises are good, right, Kel?
Oh boy, I don't know from Pete. It worries you a little
I have
bit.
not seen all good surprises.
Just a little.
bit.
Kelly,
right.
Especially Kelly's, should be worried.
Game number
I'm
4.
worried.
49ers against the Cowboys. The day of death for somebody out there in the NFC. Kelly's going to start us off on this one. Dak and the boys went up and throttled an icon last week. Dallas showed up. Dallas is one of these teams. They either really show up or they hide in a parking lot and send in a bunch of guys from the village people to play. I don't know which team's going to show, but the guys are going to tell you right here as the Cowboys go to San Francisco. San Fran minus 3.5, total of 46. Kelly, what are you thinking?
I think this will probably actually be a good game if the Dallas Cowboys from last week show up. They showed a lot of promise in that game, in my opinion. But San Francisco is going to win. So I will run the money line.
Niners there. Carney.
All right. So I really like the 49ers and what they've done, and I really think they're going to have a bright future, and I think that they're one of the better teams in the NFC. However, I think the Cowboys are just so fired up.
Oh, no.
Weapons. Now, also, if you look, the 49ers, when Brock was starting, he only played 2 good defenses and 5 terrible defenses. They weren't even they were like the bottom third of the league, where the Cowboys have been excelling on defense, especially shutting down tight ends and running backs, which is pretty much the 49ers' bread and butter. So I just think they match up well there.
Yeah.
And in terms of offense, Brock Purdy, where his advantage might be he doesn't have as much tape, but there's still enough tape. You've played several games in the NFL now. They can learn his habits, see what's going on. Where the Cowboys, you look at that coaching staff, how many years of experience. I just think, honestly, I could see the 49ers winning or losing by 3, or even the Cowboys winning or losing by 3. So if we're getting that 3.5, I'll just take the Cowboys. This is going to be an amazing game. We'll see what happens.
Cowboys in the points for Carney. Gene.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are making, at least on the radio in New York, they're making a big deal about how San Francisco's had X amount of days off and Dallas has had 3 less days off. And but when you listen to all the pros talk, they say at this time of the year that goes out the window. It's 2 days. The adrenaline's pumping.
Doesn't matter.
That's not the thing. What I love is you got Bosa on one side of the defense, and on the other defense you got Parsons. And I saw some pretty cool stats with Bosa. Bosa has not gone 2 weeks without a sack supposedly this year, which I didn't even realize. I saw that just recently. He didn't get a sack last week, which means he's due for one this week. And going against, fantastic tackle Tyler Smith, but let's face it, I think Bosa's gonna be able to do what he wants there. And there's a big talk that they're gonna put Parsons on the other side against McGlinchey more. He usually goes 60 left, 40 right. They're saying that they're going to put him predominantly on the right now instead of going up against that big monster on the left, Trent. They're going to put him up against McGlinchey. So I think that's going to be it's going to be a lower scoring game than we would think going in. And I find, to me, out of all the games, this to me is the biggest candidate for an overtime game. I agree. I think it's going to be a 3-point win, but I think it's the 49ers that pull ahead and win. They're the most complete team in football to me. Even with the rookie quarterback. I got San Francisco winning but not covering, so I'm taking Dallas.
Taking Dallas. Interesting. Joey D is up, and Joey, are you going to take the Cowboys?
Yeah, no.
Homer! Go ahead.
I would say I'm just happy to be here, but no. Obviously, the Niners are legit. They're probably the scariest team in the in the NFC. And obviously, I'm not saying that as biased as it may seem. Sorry, still the number 1 defense, even though they've given up some points here and there. They're getting tired, and I know sometimes it happens. So Brock can only beat the people that they're in front of him. Carney's right. Not every defense has been the greatest, but they are whipping every team that they're playing. Good or bad, they've beaten everyone pretty much the same. they have, Parsons is that dude. They got some good players. Obviously, you got Diggs back there. The Niners offensively just have too many weapons to cover everybody. They've been good against running backs. They're going to need to be because McCaffrey is almost uncoverable. Same thing with Kittle, but you still got to account for Debo, and you still got to account for probably the best receiver on the team in Ayuk. I mean, it's not even close. The guy can route just about anybody. But the key is going to be, like you said, putting Parsons on the other side. Of course, they want him over McGlinchey because he's not going to get past Trent. It's just not going to happen. So they're going to put him over there to try to, find that weakness. But defensively, the problem is you're going to have to get Pollard going. Otherwise, they have no chance. They're not going to just sit back and throw the ball. It's not going to happen. You might hit on some big throws, but you're not going to be able to do it the whole game. Pollard has to get going. You got the linebackers, probably the best linebacking crew in the NFL. It's going to be a tall order, but no, I think it's going to be a close game, but I think not only the San Francisco win, they will cover. And if anybody remembers last year, and I think Dallas got a little better from last year, including the Niners, until Jimmy got hurt, they were throttling Dallas. Dallas had no answer for it. Now, could it be different this year? Probably. But this was in Dallas. So now it's at home. I think with the home field advantage, I just think that they cover. They'll probably win by 7. I'm looking at that.
I like it. I think these two teams, first off, I absolutely love the under in this game. I think this game plays to the appearance of an over, but plays down to the under. The other thing I'll say is if you look at these two teams, Dallas has been, both on paper, are fantastic full rosters. The challenge I have is Dallas has played inconsistent where San Francisco has played consistent. And that's, to me, what this comes down to. I think San Francisco covers at home because of that. If I have to lay it out between the two, defensively, they both have incredible playmakers that are going to make plays. I think that Dallas will have to throw more to get into this, which means if they have to throw more, they have to rely on play action. Again, I agree about Pollard. If he doesn't get it going, I think San Fran shuts down the play action a little bit more, whereas you've got the one factor over the other side that nobody's even mentioned that the 49ers have this year that they didn't have last year, and his name is McCaffrey, and right now he is on fire, and I think he becomes the difference. I think that leads to a Cowboys 6-point win somewhere, a 6-point loss in there somewhere, and Jerry Jones dumping beer on Michael Irvin's head in the press box is where I think it happens. So, again, we'll see how this all comes together as we're playing it out. Next week, of course, we'll be back. Now, to remind everybody, again, I'll be live all weekend doing all the games if you're watching live or on the replay here with us. I'd love for you to come back with that. Would also love for you guys to check out all of my friends here on the dais. They do an amazing job on all their channels and make this show better every week. Carney's getting out his gold jacket.
I love that jacket.
Is that a Jets jacket or?
No, this is the, I think you mailed it to me early. It said the league champion jacket will be handed off every year. I think you might have sent it early.
Okay.
FedEx an hour ago.
Okay, got it. To me, I was about to ask you if
like the Masters.
I was about to ask you if pimping ain't easy. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure where we were going with it.
I guarantee you it is not.
No. Hey, I promised everybody a surprise here before we go out, and let me just say that we all try to work hard at the things we do in life. Life is short. The blessings that come from all of this that we do. What's up, Izzo? The blessings that come from all of this and the show that we do is, 1, having fun with all of you guys in the chat. 2, the friendships that have evolved. I consider all of these 4 gentlemen friends of mine that I would sit down and break bread with. I've actually had Kelly in my home. Gene's been invited, but he just doesn't show up most of the time.
I've been there, Pete.
That's true. You have been here. That's right. You did. I didn't count it. Joe,
way to make an impact.
Joey said I'm not allowed to count it. It's what he told me. He said you can't count that. He didn't bring donuts or cupcakes. You can't count it. That's what he said. But hey, I also like to do things, as many people know or hopefully should know about me in the community. I like to recognize success. And a couple weeks ago we talked about Kelly and what they did with going over 8,000. They're on their way up and doing their things. Well, something just happened within the last few hours, and I'd like to take the time right now to congratulate Carney for going over 7,000 on his channel. That just happened. We'll be recognizing that on Friday night on our Disney channel. But much like Kelly, he and Kelly are both working hard at their channel. So congratulations to Pete and the Carney crew for going over 7K on there. I wanted to recognize you for that. See, this time it's not people singing. Maybe next time. If you want to see people singing, you definitely might want to come by Friday night because I've got about 15 new ones, and maybe somebody on this screen might be showing up. You never know. So
I have to stop singing on live streams. Can somebody write that down, please?
All right, you guys don't go anywhere. We're going at. Go over, check out all their channels. We're dropping their links in. I appreciate everybody being here. This has been Divisional Week. Next week when we come back, it's Championship Week when we go at it one more time on the channel. Hopefully, we will see you Saturday about